Action?
Not yet.
Okay. That's great. All right. Rolling?
Yep.
On the film, I want to get as close to the camera equipment as possible. So like if that's like first assistant, like whatever I can get my hands on, I just want to be closest to the camera and working as hands-on as possible with the camera, because I think that's really interesting and obviously a vital part of the film process.
Is this a fixed lens?
Yes, I think so.
I don't know if that's, we want the wide angle.
Wide angle?
Somebody's got to get a wide angle.
So would you say you want to learn how to become a better cinematographer in this program?
Yeah, definitely that. Also just like being able to tell stories well, like able to understand like what shots go with what you're trying to convey, like what messages you're trying to convey. I think that's really important too, like especially in this film. You have to know what type of shot you want to do with what type of scene so that you're conveying the right message to your audience. I think that's pretty interesting.
You can't go for a long period of time as Hollywood has and only show one perspective. You have to be willing to open that perspective up to everyone, and everyone is interested in telling their story. Everyone has a story to tell. So how do we do that? We first have to give people their first chance.
History is made up of the stories that we leave behind. So if we're able to leave behind stories, more importantly, tell our own, they become history. And that is invaluable.
There's a lot more autonomy with this. Like I feel like you get to, there's much more hands-on experience. Like the fact that teenagers are members of the apprentice crew is like really important. We get more, it's more of our film than anything I've done in the past. So I want that experience. I think it's just a good way to work, you know, spend the summer, like you can relax, but you can also work. So I think it'll be like a creative journey for me, but also it'll offer some cool practical skills.
It's gonna be on you because you're like also getting there.
So this is our way of giving a leg up to some kids to try to diversify Hollywood and to do it from the ground up. So we're giving them that first experience, that first foot in the door where they can take this experience and use it as a reel to Hollywood.
Nice. We got a little synergy going there. Okay.
So Crib Productions is a not-for-profit organization that was founded with the principle of giving inner-city teens real-life experience on a professional film set. In script writing, we had kids help writing the script. We have kids on camera crew, we have kids on lighting, we have kids on makeup, we have kids acting. What's unique about it is the teen apprentices in our program get paid. So they, from the get-go, they take this very seriously. This is a job.
Ultimately, we want our program to have a lasting effect for these kids for years to come. They can look back and say 5, 10, maybe 15 years ago, hey, I kind of got my start in film because of Crib Productions.
We want everyone to have a voice, and we want to give a voice to those on the lowest rung, to those that have been most misrepresented and left out the most.
With giving the kids the ability to, one, dissect the media, and two, create their own media, you kind of change their mindset from consumers to creators, and that's drastic.
Our production this year has a working title of Ruin and Redemption, and it's a little story about an old man being let out of prison for a crime he didn't commit, and trying to reunite with the family that he left behind when he went to jail.
We broke our production and pre-production into different segments this year. So we had a week-long boot camp where the kids would be split into groups based upon their interest, and they were going to be rigorously taught all the foundational material of that subject. So we went over things like, and I was actually a bit surprised at how fast they picked up our basics. And it got to the point where you really saw your outliers early on, and they developed specialties for whatever their interest was more so.
I think it took us a couple days to really start to gel as a crew. I think that's common in filmmaking. I've heard a lot of Hollywood stories like this, but in our case, it was less about maybe some personality, but it was mostly about how we operated and what was our mechanism for operation.
I've actually seen a few of the parents afterwards, and they raved to me about how their child was able to have meaningful instruction for the first part of the summer, as well as earn money for the duration and for the remainder of the summer.
Yes. I'd like to start off by thanking University of Chicago Lab School for giving us this
Louder.
opportunity. Huh?
Louder.
Thank you to the University of Chicago Lab School.
Thank you. We also want to thank the Chicago Charter Network.
Louder.
We also want to thank the Chicago Charter Network. They were awesome, and specifically I want to give a shout out to Todd Barnett. You're amazing.
Also, we'd like to thank Collaboration Theater that housed our first reading for this production.
In addition, we want to thank the students who participated in our program, as well as the parents who were dedicated with us throughout this entire process. The days did get long at times.
We'd like to thank all the actors that put in some truly amazing performances, but I'd like to especially note the youngest member of Crib, Brandon, 6 years old. Watch out for him, he's gonna be a star.
Lastly, I want to thank Ben and myself. I think we did an amazing job. And if I tried to pat myself on the back, I would probably break my arm, so I'm not gonna do that. But I think all around,
I'll do
everyone,
it for you.
everyone did an amazing job this year. So thank you, and shout out to everyone. Alex, you as well.
Peace out.